All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Trading and Sport webinar. Today's date is June 11th, 2018. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Boxing in Trades and Avoid the Fake Outs. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk, and there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to get started. And bear with me just 1 second because I want to show, just in case there's somebody new in, we send you out a members login, your user ID and password. This is a really important area right here, and it's locked out to anybody that's not a member. Okay, so members of Viper Trading System only get into this area right here. It always has the room links. It has the webinar links for the week. It has some really good training materials in PDF format. It even has templates and the latest Viper scripts that you can download a zip file. You'll want to, extract and put the folders, on your desktop, not just in the main zip file. And then we've got this ebook, and I've got several webinars that are actually in red here, and these will get you really started. Now, granted, it's not a, just jump in and just get right into trading with Viper Trading Systems as any other system would be either. So you naturally want to, study some webinars. And these that are in red right here are pretty much the ones that we're really training on the different tools and things that we have. And then each week, the webinar will be, posted. This is already Saturday morning, which Charles did on Saturday, last Saturday. And we keep these posted always up to date. Okay. So this webinar tonight, for instance, will be just below this webinar and just above this one. So, in other words, we keep them updated, and today, June 11th, will be just right above this one, just shortly after we close this webinar. Okay? I run into quite a few times, though, that people, even though we send out welcome letters and all kinds of things, it can be a little overwhelming, and you want to make sure that you go to this part right here for some real good training. If you want to just simply see, some PDFs, for instance, of how Viper actually trades, you can even go into some of these here, even about risk management and all kinds of stuff. It's about a 78-page manual, and it goes through all the different trades that we take, whether they're trending, how to box them, and things like that. Okay, same scripts that we got now. Notice that we didn't have the predictors at the time. Is the only thing when we wrote this particular book. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do right off the bat, just bear with me 1 second, is the same thing I like to do in every webinar that I start. We're looking at a YM chart. Okay, so what direction would you want to be looking at trades on this particular chart and stay away from the other side? Anybody? What direction are we looking at? Of course, it's up. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this, and yet I talk to people every day, and they go, why did you take a long there, or this or that? And you can clearly see why. Okay, now I put lightning 3 on the chart just now. Okay, and you can see this is a low, this is a high, this is a high, and even this is a high, and those were all taken out. So now you've got a fresh high here, a fresh low here that has not been identified yet. Okay. But it has been identified as far as, in other words, that this is a leg 1, leg 2, and if this leg 3 goes below here, then obviously we would be looking for shorts, but until it does, we're not. And that's exactly the way to read that chart. And you'll find that if you'll read charts that way, and I don't even care if the background changes or something like that, you've got to really look at these charts and be able to tell the direction based on the lightning. Okay, because they'll try to bring them down, for instance. But if you were trading YM today in the room, you probably saw that even if you looked at this from last night, this didn't break this line. It just kept going up and doing different things. It finally came down and tested the line, if I remember right, overnight. And you've got to look at that when you start your day. Now, I went ahead and put this at 12 o'clock at night because I don't get up at 12 o'clock at night. But I just wanted everybody to see that we're going to still be able to pick these trades and pick them correctly. Okay? But first off, you've got to make sure anytime you're going to trade that you know which direction you're going to want to box. Okay? And if you go against the overall trend, you've got to scalp. I say that time and time and time again. But, for instance, well, let's draw lightning 2 on here. Let's just see where it's at. Lightning 2 is actually pretty much heading up too, isn't it? Okay, so why in the world would a person want to be, anything but long on this particular trade? But yet I talk to people all the time that do go against the trend just because maybe a bar goes red or something like that. That's not the way we designed this. If your overall trend is down, then of course you're going to be looking for shorts only. But if it's up, you're going to be looking primarily for long trades unless you're going to scalp. Now, there are definitely some good scalps because remember the rule of thumb, if they break micro, they will go down and check these medium swings and even possibly lower swings. Okay, but until they take them out, they're not heading the other direction. So if, for instance, you were going to trade this, against the trend, then what you would want to do would be more than likely to do like a trend line on it or something like that, and then take a break and see if you could actually, head down and maybe test one of these levels. But keep in mind that if you go against the trend, you're doing what? And I just said it a minute ago, we're scalping, okay? Because if you go anything different than scalping against the trend, you're going to try to hold and you're going to just watch your money come and then you're going to watch your money go. Because what happens in any kind of a trend that's going up, they may test support and they may even test this support, but they're going to bounce at some point and you've got to be willing to get out of that, that short trade if you do happen to take it. That would be the scalp trade. Okay? That's extremely important, okay, everyone? Everyone's got to remember that. It's extremely important. If you go against the trend, then go into scalp mode, okay? Let's look at the actual chart and let's see what it's looking like and let's see if we can actually get a trade. But, one of the reasons that I put out this particular little template here, and everybody should have it. If you don't have it, it is on the website or I'll be more than happy to get it to you. But this little template right here, I just call it the webinar template for lack of better things because I teach on it. But it'll really open your eyes up to what's really happening with the trade, okay? Now, you're trading longer term trend and you're trading more your micro and your secondary also, okay? So if you were to scalp this, for instance, wouldn't you think you could very possibly scalp this if it broke 340 and started heading down a little bit? Yeah, you probably could because that's lightning. See your high, your low, your higher high. So if it does stair step down and break this, it's kind of like breaking this, but on a smaller scale. Everybody see what I'm talking about there? It's just the difference in power trend, power meter 3 and power meter 2. Okay? And that's where you would scalp. Everybody sees that. Good deal. Okay? Let's go ahead and go to the actual chart then, because tonight's webinar is going to be about boxing in trades. Now see, this one's already technically gone past this break here, so I would not short this anymore. Okay? Now if you want to short this at all, then the way you're going to have to do it, you're going to have to box it in. Okay? And if you do box it in, what's this webinar about tonight? Anybody? We're talking about not getting what? Fake outs, right? So that's what we want to stay away from is the fake outs, right? All right. So let's look at our chart and see. We've got a thrust, a retrace, and a thrust. So this is definitely support right here. Okay, and if you look at this, more than likely it could come down here. See, that's a lightning a priori swing, and it could come down as low as even here. Everybody see that? Just one sec. It froze. Bear with it just a second. This silly thing does this occasionally. I clicked it and it's still staying on pause. Just a second. Let me stop showing the screen for a second, and then I'll hit the play again. See if that works. Okay, good. I see it. Sorry about that. That happens occasionally on GoToWebinar. I don't know why it does, but it does. Okay, but anyway, let's go back over that. So you have basically this little swing setup right here. High, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, and higher, high, higher, low, and higher, high on the smaller. This is what I consider to be like your secondary or like a medium swing. So if you didn't short this up here for a quick scalp, if you're going to short against an uptrend, you're going to pretty much have to short that little box, okay? And then take your coin when it gets down here or here or here, okay? Because when they break micro, they check medium. They'll check these, well, this is like a secondary. So they'll break micro, they'll check secondary, they'll check medium very possibly, and they'll even check your larger swings a lot of times. But as long as they don't break this, this is not heading down, okay? Because if you were to draw on this chart, like Lightning 4 to give an example, backspace. Let me see if I can get Lightning 4 to draw. Okay, does everybody see a high, a low, a higher low? And you really have a higher high here, but Lightning 4 hasn't drawn up at this top yet. It may later, but Lightning 4 is actually a 12 range chart. So it may draw here a little bit later as soon as some of these prices get in. Okay, it may draw up here. I don't know if it will, but it could. Okay, but this is definitely a swing that's identified. Okay, so if you were going to, short this, the aggressive trade is here. The aggressive trade is here, still the same about where that box is. Okay, and a more conservative trade is right around this mid band. Okay, but then you don't want it to start stair-stepping back up at all. Okay, so if you were to short this right here, then obviously you don't want it to pop back above that mid band. But isn't it better just to wait for the trade to actually come to a support level and then get a monster move instead? Instead of trying to fight for, 10 ticks or whatever. Okay, now we'll go ahead and do this. Let's see if we can get a trade on here. I'll go ahead and go to Object Trader. We're doing replay. 3's fine. I could even change that to 5 just in case. That way if we wanted 4, set it as default and click OK. All right. And now let's let it play for just a minute, and I'll see if we can get a box of some kind. It's going to either be to the upside or the downside. And I'll go ahead and put a box on here. Get rid of this one. This is a region box, and we're going to see if we can get us a little trade. Now, when you go against the trend, if this happens to go against the trend, you really want to do only about 8 or 10 ticks. Okay, see, now that broke down below this support level so far. So wouldn't you think more than likely, if it comes back and kisses this, that we could probably... Let's try it and see if we can get 10 ticks. If it kisses resistance and rolls down, if it doesn't, if it just pops up, we won't get a short trade. But if we do kiss this and it rolls, there you go. You just got it 2 ticks down. Okay? Now this would be what I still consider to be an aggressive trade, but it's also, well, it's a trade that we take quite often in the room, right? Okay? But what you got to do, though, is you've got to also protect your coin just in case this thing decides to keep going up, because it could easily do that. Okay? Let's see if it'll roll on through. That's one contract. Let's go ahead and do another one. if we can get it. If we can get it. There we go. We got 2. We're going to just try to go for 10 ticks. Going to put my stop nice and tight, just right there, just in case, with an exit on close. Okay. Now see how I boxed that right there just then? That's basically, you know, how you're going to take these breaks and comes back and kisses. That's really called a kiss trade. But it definitely is counter trend. And I'm not even up a dime yet. Okay. Now if I do happen to get 10 ticks, I'll be up what? $100, right? Let's see if we can get something. Now, obviously, you can move your target. Might try to get down there. Let's see if we can get it. Something. Now, where did I say that we would be going short if we happen to break? Anybody? It's right down here, right? But we're not going to just take a breakout. So if this does happen to come down in this area here, well, we got our target. That's $140. It's not too bad. Okay, now look at this. Look at this. What do you think? Let's box it in. Now, what just happened though? We just came down and kissed support. We still have a what? Is it a downtrend? Even though this changed to red, are we in a downtrend yet? Anybody? And the answer is no. We're in the downtrend as far as the micro lightning is concerned, and we already took it. But isn't this actually an uptrend? So could we actually box this? Let's just move our region, as a matter of fact. And that's resistance right there. So let's take it long if it goes up. I'll even take a break if it goes short, but it's going to have to break more than this swing, at least, okay? Because I don't like to just get them if they barely touch this, because that's still an uptrend in my opinion. Okay, that's the way I like to teach, and that's the way I like to trade. Okay, so let's see. That's YM. Let's go 3. Let's just see what it does. Everybody seeing how you box these in? Okay, notice how I've got resistance right there where my lightning is. Okay, I'm at a support level. I'd even probably tighten that. There you go, you got it anyway. Oh, I forgot to change that. That's all right. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Since I forgot to change my targets, I've only got one target, so we're going to have to just get it out of the way. Everybody see that? Now, what's going on right now? Your longer term held. Now, is this a short at mid-band? Anybody? Only if it boxes. Okay? If we get to this mid-band and it doesn't box, okay, let's go ahead and box it, as a matter of fact. Let's say that if it breaks this support right here, just give an example, that we'll go ahead and flip this trade. What do you think? Anybody? We'll do it. All right. But we're going to add, well, we just missed adding. It busted out. Yeah, we added. We got 5 now. Okay, and I'm going to put my stop nice and tight just in case with that on support. Now, why did I take that long with a red background? Anybody? Now, when you're trading your overall chart, you've got to look. Let's go back to that this one right here. Let's go ahead and draw lightning 4. Is that a downtrend? Still in an uptrend, right? Now, when does your uptrend actually change? Well, see, we're in lightning 2 right now. Let's go from lightning 1. Let's see if it actually prints here. It may not. Let's go from here. Yeah, so far. Now, where is lightning 1 so far? Now, I think we're up a little bit higher, but if you were boxing this in, wouldn't you just simply box it like this? You have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low. So wouldn't you just simply box it in like that? And the answer is yes. Okay. Now, if you know that lightning actually has to form, and your price could still be up here without this forming. Let's see where it's at. Yeah, see, it's way up here. Okay. So notice why it's not forming here, though. There's no zigzag. Okay, notice how we had the box here, though. See the little low, the high, the higher low? If you boxed it in down here, even like so, you still got a trade, a nice trade, as a matter of fact. Okay? Now that's actually the way to trade these charts. Does anybody remember this morning in the room where I called I'm trying to think, it was, I don't remember what time it was, but if I remember right, it was even on YM. And I called it based on a higher low, didn't I? And that's what you've got to look at. Always make sure you're not just looking at the smaller prices, but also these larger ones. Because to me, for this to have ever broken down, you would have had, now could you short it? Absolutely, way up here even. Trendline break, yes, you could short that. But when you're trading against the trend, you're only going to be scalping. Just try to take 10 ticks, 12 ticks, something like that. But for this to actually break down, this would have to break here. It would have to come back and kiss somewhere up in here even, maybe a little there, it just drew another lightning. And then it would have to break down. And that's not what happened, is it? Now notice that lightning hasn't even formed yet. Let's just play this just for the fun of it. On this chart. I got it, there you go. Got it at 500. Notice how you finally started getting lightning, but it has to zigzag first. Okay? But you could take this trade based on this even. See where that came down, broke the trend line, headed up. You could take it that way. We're talking mainly tonight about boxing in and not being faked out. Okay? Now, remember in the room this morning, I got faked out once on oil because I was talking when I would have actually most of the time taken the trade, and that was up near Phantom, and you had a beautiful box then, if everybody remembers, and you got a scalp. The way we boxed it, you barely got a scalp, and then you didn't get the rest of the trade. Okay? Anybody have any troubles at all with this little diagram? I mean, that's a little noisy right now, obviously. But does everybody see what's going on here? Because this is so important to trade with the trend. Because when they break up, to give an example, how long did that actually take? Let's see here. You had a break up out of the box right here at about 104. And this is just 129. That's 25 minutes later, and the thing's up nearly 50 ticks. Okay? And when did it start changing directions? When it started stair-stepping the other direction. Now, let me get rid of some of these bigger ones, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of Lightning 4. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of Lightning. Hey, we'll leave that one on. We'll get rid of this. Didn't happen. All right, and we'll get rid of Lightning 3 for right now. I just want you to see these. When did this start actually stair-stepping back the other direction? Anybody? Bob B, on your question, the power meters are the lightning. Absolutely. We started to name these lightning, but we called them power meter because it's actually the power that's on the chart. But if you look at these power meters, go to your indicator, you'll notice that your power display that prints right here is actually just these lightnings. That's lightning 1. That's lightning 2. That's lightning 3. And the other one's lightning 4. Okay? And on any of these, you have the ability to change these. We've got these where they're MTFs, which means they're multiple tick frame. Okay? So, like I've got power meter 4 on a 12 range chart with 5 swing strength. Well, 12 range bars, 5 of those is what? 60 ticks, right? But you don't get 60 ticks on 5 12 range bars because everybody knows you get a bar up, you get a bar down about halfway through the other one, right? So basically you're getting probably 30, 35, maybe even 40 ticks on a swing strength of 5. And that's how we use that Lightning 4. Now Lightning 3, on the other hand, is 4 range chart, but it's 15 swing strength. Now 4 range times 15 bars is also 60 ticks. But you're not getting 4 range bars just straight up, 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 up. So it's not 60 ticks. It's 15 bars, and our algorithm catches it to label them. This is your Lightning 3 right here. See this green right here and this yellow? These yellow ones are your Lightning 3. And those get labeled long before you get the full 15 bars. Okay? Sometimes it has to get close to the 15, but as a rule, if it takes 15 bars to get an actual number drawing, you can pretty much count on that number holding when they pull back. Okay? Remember? There it is over here, and it bounced right off of it. Okay? But also get in the habit of drawing trend lines on your chart too. And use the tool we've given you in Object Trader called Wedge Trader. Because when you draw a trend line along there, doesn't that pretty much tell you that it broke up right above there? And the answer is absolutely yes, right? Okay? So those type of things are extremely important. You know, always make sure that you know for sure what direction the trade's going. That's the most important, right? And then you've got to look to the left to trade the right. Okay? And let's see if we can actually figure out, if somebody's not in a trade yet, let's see if we can figure out where you can get in one. Y'all want to? Okay, what's the direction of the trend right now? Still up, isn't it? Okay, so let's look at our chart. All right, so we've got a really good trade. I went ahead and, I'm not still trading this because I was showing that actually with real time. This is the same chart right here, by the way. This is just simply a webinar chart, but it's live with actual bars on it. I just happen to turn the bars transparent. Okay. And your price markers and everything are black. I mean, it's just totally where you can't see any prices, but they're still there. Okay. This just kind of brainstormed me one night, and I thought, I'd like to show people how to see the individual trees and not the entire forest. And I think this is a real good way to do it. Okay. So let's see if we can figure out where our next trade is on this chart based on the same thing that we've been looking at. All right, let's see. Thrust, retrace, thrust. I've got a line drawn right here at 26. There's another line right here, looking to the left to trade the right. So my guesstimate would be a sweet spot to be right in this area right here. And if you get a micro pullback, it'll be here. And let's see which one we get. Y'all want to? Let's see if we can get it. We'll get a 10-tick trade if it happens to pull back into this swing. And we'll go for a 10-tick trade if it happens to pull back in this area here. Let's see if we can get them. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. I'm just going to simply hit the trigger if it comes down there. See where it hit? Just going for 10 ticks. Nice tight stop right there. Is it going to get 10 ticks? We'll find out. If not, it'll stop me out, and that's no big deal if it does. There you go, got 10 ticks. Okay? So now we have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high, and we've got a swing right over here to the left, and we've got a swing right here to the left. So this is my sweet spot if this comes down. Let's see if we can get it. Well, I missed it, but you can clearly see that I would have gotten it. Look at that, right into my box. Okay, so that turned out to be what? Not a bad little trade too. And by the way, once this breaks like that, more than likely you're okay to move your targets, because usually what they'll do is they'll try a couple of times into that, like that mid band and stuff. See, now I've got a decent trade going. Everybody see that pretty well? That turned out to be a pretty good little trade. Let's see if everybody in here can pick the next trade. Y'all want to do it? All right, let's draw on our chart and see. And let's avoid these little fake outs. Let's draw on our chart. We've got a line here, right? We've got a line here. Let's look to the left to trade the right. Nothing else. All right, so this is actually a little sweet spot. Oh, and also there's one here. See this little box that you've basically drew and it popped up? So I'm going to draw a line there too. Anytime they do a little consolidation, you can pretty much draw a line. So I'm going to take a trade if it touches that line. And that's also a predictor, by the way. Just for 10 ticks. Are you adding, Paul? Well, you can add. Tonight's not as much about adding as really, figuring out how to draw those boxes. Even if you don't trade the region, you should still be able to see where the box is going to be. I see a box actually right here, right now. See it? Primary swing, secondary swing should hold. But it could also bounce here for a 10-tick trade too. See if we can get it. I'm going to have to speed it up, I'm afraid. Speed it up about 20 times. Didn't get anything yet. I'm not going to be 66 tick. I'm going to go for 10. That's 26 even. Let's go for 10. Too late. Missed that one because I had 66 on there. I think we'll still get it. Put our stop. There we go. We got it. Okay, everybody see that? Now notice how it came down just looking to the left to trade the right. Now think about this. Could you actually have a box sitting here? And the answer is yes. Now, rather than a breakout box though, see where I drew this line right here? You can draw a region with your little button here. Let me go ahead and hit the insert button. All right, but couldn't you take the trade? Because we designed this way to take the trade at the bottom of the box. Everybody see that? So in other words, when you draw on your chart, you can actually box it, and you got a 10-tick trade there. And then when it came down a little bit further, you could move your box and take another trade like that. There's even another trade right there that just happened on top of that box. Everybody see that? This way of trading definitely works. Okay, because in the room, for instance, you noticed that some trades like this actually set up. Now this is like 2:30 in the morning, so this isn't the trades that we got, but it's still trades that set up all day long, just like that. Let's see, at what point to the left are you creating your supports and resistance, David? Well, what you want to do is you want to look at lightning. Let's go back and look at that because that's super important. All right, let's go ahead. We'll get rid of the box. All right, first off, you want to look at your a priori swings that are actually your numbered ones. Okay, those are pretty important right there. Now, what I normally do is draw a line at any a priori swings, like so. Okay, and see how close that came to that? See there? That came super, super close to that. Okay, but you also want to look at your lightning one even. Let's see if lightning one picked that one that I did. Yeah, it did. Let's see if I can get it. I'm going to get rid of lightning 2 so you can see it. Get lightning 1 on here again. See that right there? High, low, higher, high. This one I consider a lightning swing, although it didn't draw it. But notice how that just almost perfectly came down to that. You see that now? That is so important to watch for that. Okay? Now, let me fast forward this, and I want everybody to tell me, see if we can do it quick enough. Let's see if we can get some numbers. Okay, right here. Everybody see this number formed right here? Now, that took 15 bars to get that to form, okay, in our algorithm. So isn't this actually an area that if it does happen to break, that more than likely you're going to head down instead of up? And if another one forms here, you know, or here even, let's just watch it. Let's see where they form. Just the numbers. See where numbers form. We're watching for numbers. Now, let me ask you a question. Did it actually break this area right here? Is this actually going to head up or down now? What does everybody think? Anybody? It broke here. What do you think? It's going to head up or down. So the question would be now, could you actually very possibly box it? But keep in mind one other thing too, that you don't have to just jump into, you know, the first little breakout. Because what happened when it broke that right there? It came down and it came back up, didn't it? It's checking a resistance area, okay, which is right across here where this lightning swing is, right here. Let's look at it. Right there. Okay, so it kissed it and it tried to roll. So let me ask you a quick question. Would you want to short this yet? And I would say probably the answer is really no. How would you box this one right here? Well, what you would do is actually you just short that 373 is what I would probably do. But, you know, keep in mind until this actually breaks down, you know, like below Phantom, to give an example, this could be nothing but a Phantom trade. Okay, let's see if we can get a Phantom. Let's see if we can get a Phantom. We're going to box in a Phantom if we get it. And since it's broken support, I'm going to just do 10 ticks. So let's see if we can get a Phantom. I'm going to fast forward it. Now, y'all tell me where the Phantom is if you were to get a Phantom trade on this trade right here. Anybody? You have a candle down, a candle up, and a candle up. So could you box it right here? Let's try that. Let's see if I can get a box. All right, we're going to go. Look to the left, trade the right. That's another swing. See the a priori swing there? So I'm going to do a long out or a long inside. Everybody see why? Look at your lightning. See that swing right here? Now that's an a priori swing. This is actually one here, but that also formed one here because that took quite a few bars to get there. So that's a support level here also. So let's see if we can get a trade. It's either going to be at the bottom or at the top. See which way it does. There you go. You just got it. Swing here to the left. Everybody see how to box that? Now notice I didn't take the breakout box. I took the bottom. Well, now keep in mind though, David, even though these power meters are red down here, we're talking about scalping now, okay? Because I'm looking at these support levels, and this is actually a Phantom trade too. I don't pay attention to this meter at all on Phantoms, because a Phantom trade is first time into Phantom after a trend change. This one was a deep probe, but this is actually a Phantom. Does anybody need me to explain what I mean by Phantom on that? Because a Phantom trade, you're looking at about an 80 to 85% probability trade on a Phantom trade, okay? And the way you look at that is just simply like this. It has to go from a down to an up, that's a phantom trade. All right, you're up, now you're down. This is a phantom trade, but it never triggered. Okay, this is a phantom short up in here, but it never triggered. All right, then you went long, and there's your phantom, or pardon me, a deep probe, but not a phantom. But that's still a good trade. You box it in. This, though, is an actual legitimate phantom, because a phantom on a long is between line 1 and line 2, and maybe even a little above line 2. I like to usually use 1 to 2 ticks, because I find that works pretty well. Okay, now if this was to come down again, it is not a phantom, even though it may do it, because it looks pretty choppy to me. Okay, this is actually going into a little bit more chop in the middle of the night. So what would you do in a case like this then? Well, you got support right here. Could you move your little box like so? And I wouldn't take a breakout trade, but I'd take that trade right there if it came down and kissed it for 10 ticks. Everybody see why? Because we're just kind of stair-stepping. We did a phantom, so maybe we'll check the phantom, but maybe we won't. But we do have a lightning swing right here. Let's see, at top a phantom is between line 6 and 7. That's for a short. But keep in mind when it's between lines 6 and 7 that you're going to have basically a sideways background and blue bars. And on an up, you're going to have the red bars. Okay, like we just had. Okay, now if you want to just stay out of stuff like this right here, you certainly can too. Okay, but I'm going to try to show you how to do this without too many fake outs. We'll probably lose on 1, maybe even 2, but there we go. We just got a trade. Let's see if it'll go. Right off the predictor, as a matter of fact. Let's see if we can get 10 ticks. Oh, almost. It missed it by a tick. That makes me a little nervous. Let's see if we can get it. Got it. Okay, now let's look to the left to trade the right and see if we can get another one. You want to? Let's see. We've got a swing right here. They tested. They haven't tested this one just yet, so I'd go one more time right down here at the bottom. Let's see if we get anything. Now, obviously, we could have taken the breakout long there too, but we were already out. We got a 10-tick trade, so now we're waiting for a retracement. Let's see if we can get one. They like to check every single swing, and if you draw on your charts, you'll see mostly where they're at. Stop would be underneath the support. Let's see if we can get one. Does anybody have any trouble at all with phantoms? Because I know I try to explain that in a lot of webinars, but I'm not sure if everybody gets it. Because it's real simple once you know what you're looking for, but you've got to be ready for them. And they can be trend changes too. And that doesn't mean that you couldn't have gone a little short before it got to phantom too. Okay, but if you got up, let's say for instance in the morning, anybody ever notice that you get a little break on like YM and then it'll pull back like into phantom and then take off like a bird? That's because they try to fake everybody out before they finally run them. See if we can get one thing I like about the region too is that if it doesn't trigger the trade, like if it just blows through it, you won't ever get that trade. Let's see, David, you have a problem with that and you're still fairly new? Okay. What I would do is do a few of them in sim and just see how good they are, because they are really good. Okay. Now, how much longer are we going to do long trades here? Because this is looking like lower highs and everything to me. Yeah, as a matter of fact, see how that didn't trigger? That's what I love about Object Trader. Now, it will trigger, though, if it goes up back through it. There you go. Just got it. Notice how it didn't trigger on the way down because it forced it. No, I'm not going to add, just in case, because that actually took out support. Now let me ask you a quick question. By looking at what we've looked at so far, let's get rid of the lightning. I see something setting up. Let me get rid of this. And get rid of this. Get rid of that. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get 10 ticks. Put our stop nice and tight, just in case. Anybody see what they're trying to do? You can clearly see it. See your high, your low, your lower high, lower low. They're going to take this thing down. How do I know that? That's a good question, but I'll show you. Now, they may have just faked us with this, but let me just draw it for you so you'll see it. Lightning. You've got to thrust down. All right. You've got to retrace. Basically right here, even though it did it, tried to check again, and then you've got this right here. So what does that look like? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to break down yet, but that's looking like it's going to break down to me. Because that's what they end up doing. They try to bounce off like these support areas, and then if they take them out, what are we looking for? Anybody? Let's see if it comes to fruition. It's either that or it's going to shoot up and just be a fake right here. We'll find out. Now you could box in at midband because it hit resistance right there. You could also box in right here. Everybody see it? High, low, lower, high. If it breaks this little swing right across here, if we don't take out this swing, that is. Everybody see what I'm talking about? High, low, lower, high. Right now, anyway, it doesn't necessarily have to stay that way. But it did. Missed it. Everybody see that? I tried to grab it. Let's see if we can get it anyway. There we go. Everybody see what I just did? I'm shorting that at resistance. I tried to get it as quick as I could. Okay, what if you notice that didn't fake you out at all? But let me ask a quick question to anybody here. Where's the trade on this chart if this decides to break down? Anybody? Let's just pretend we're not in anything because I see the trade. Everybody see this is starting to break down, right? Well, let's make sure if it does first. If it takes this out, we're not breaking down. Okay, we're breaking down. Now, where's the trade on the chart? Anybody? Isn't right up, well, even right here, actually, like that. Everybody see that? Let's see if we can get it. Or I'll take it if it breaks out, but I'll put a heavier stop on it. Let's do that even, just in case this is really going to plow. We're short. Now we're already in 5, so that's probably plenty, but it should kiss right here. That's if it's going to. Yeah, it's going to. Didn't quite. Didn't quite. It pretty much kissed. Not quite to even that one right there, didn't it? Everybody see how to do that? Clearly? Everybody sees how to do it. Let's look at our chart, though, and let's see what's actually happening on our chart. You have a high, a low, ABC. This is your lightning swing on what I call your longer term swing. So for this thing to really head down, it's going to have to take that out. Doesn't mean we're not short now, but we're putting our stop just above like line 6. And let's see if it'll head down further. Does everybody see how a little bit better that you're not going to get faked out on these? By simply drawing on your charts. That's right, at a predictor. We may not go much lower. Those predictors are pretty good at stopping trades, but let's see. Now, how many of you are looking at a chart even right now? You know, granted, if you're looking at 4 charts like we do in the room, you've got to really be ready to see what's happening. But does everybody see you have a high, another high? There's 3 points right there. That's what it takes to make a trend. All right, so if you were to draw like so, isn't that the trend line that should actually kiss? See? Okay, so couldn't you stay with this trade as long as it doesn't break that trend line? And if it does break that trend line, you might even flip it. Let's go ahead and protect ourselves down here. Resistance is right here. Resistance is right here if it rolls over, but it hadn't rolled over yet. Let's see if it will. Let's see just real quick. I think I see a couple of questions coming. You're getting it clearer? Good. If it breaks down below those 3 blue lines, where would you look to the left? Well, like right now, to give an example, on this chart, if this was decided, you know, for instance, if you look at the overall, this is still an uptrend, right? If it doesn't take this out. Okay, but we're still short because on this right-hand side, it's definitely a short. But on the left-hand side, you do have, you know, tendency of very possibly going back up. Okay, but so far we're still heading down, and I'd put my stop just above that swing right there. If this breaks this low right here, I'd put it even right there because that's the swing. Or you can use lightning. You'd want to do all 5 if that meter goes green. The one thing I think a lot of people run into is they think when something just starts heading down, 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 that it's going to head down forever. But you've got to look to the left to trade the right. You've got to see, you know, where your overall big swings are, and you've got to know where their support levels are. Because if they happen to bounce off of them, then they're no longer heading down. Okay? For instance, if we break this line right here, we could still head back up. Right? If we break this trend line, we could head back up. So could you, as a trader, even use a tool that we've got called wedge? You want to just try it for the fun of it? I'm going to kill this trade, and we're going to use a wedge and just see if we can get a... And this will be a counter trend trade, so we're only going to go for 10 ticks. Wedge, ray. I'll go with even those right there. See, that's a high, low, and even back this one right here. That's pretty good. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So if this does decide to go above that line with a touch plus, say 2, I'm not going to do 5. I'll do 2, and we'll just try to get a $100 bill. And that's if it doesn't keep going down. Draw your lines on your charts, though. You're getting really close to a support level. Everybody see that? Now notice that I could have stayed short. What I'm choosing to do, though, is I want to see if a trend line will actually hold for me. If this doesn't take out 296 right here, then guess what? We're not going to be heading down any longer. Predictor says right here. Our trend line is drawn though, and we'll see. I'm going to go, just for the fun of it, 3 for 10 ticks, if it breaks that trend line. Now, you know, we got another tool on this called Stealth, that you can actually get this trade also, you know, if it decides not to take out that low. We're really close to it. We're really close. There's resistance. It should roll if it's going to roll. Now, let me tell you one other thing that you want to probably do. You can either use wedge as a trade to get in, or you can actually watch it break a trend line that you draw and then simply box it to avoid fake outs. Now, like I said, this is going to be counter trend if this breaks that trend line, but that is a true trend line, 3 points. Touch plus 2 will get it too. Now, why would I do this with that background being red and everything else? Well, only for a trend line break. And we may not get it. It may just keep on heading down. But how many of you get up in the morning, for instance? Well, we're going to get it. We just got it. How many of you get up in the morning and see, you know, and you go short after they've already dropped this much, and then they do this to you? We've all been there. How many have seen that happen? Now, what I like to personally do also is see where it breaks that trend line. You can use a box. Now, we're already in this trade, but I'm going to show you how to just draw a trend line on a chart and use a region instead. Let's see if we can get a region on here, just for the fun of it. And I'm going to put it right here, since it broke the trend line. We're going to kill this trade, and we're only going to take it if it takes out that top. See how we broke a trend line? Now, this is a counter trend trade. See there, we just got it. Are we going to get 10 ticks? We'll find out. And you did. See how trend lines really, really work? They're pretty amazing. Now, would you go chasing this trade right now? And the answer I would say would be no. But I probably would box it in for a phantom if it doesn't take out this swing right here. So if it gets anywhere between line 6 and line 7, this little sweet spot, like so, I would actually short that. See why I did that? Now, that may be like catching a missile. This may go on up, but I would put my stop just above there. That's my swing, and I'm only risking 11. Let's see if it works. It may take me. But that is a true phantom, so I took it. Now, I took it aggressively. There we go. We're okay. Now, the way you would normally take it is a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Everybody sees that, right? Now, could this be a trend change? Well, we may get a trend change as we speak. It just hit resistance. We may get a trend change on this little puppy. I'll tell you where I would look for it. This looks like a trend change now. See how they took out the swing to the left? We had our stop just a couple of ticks above it. Where would you look to enter this trade if you weren't in this trade and it decides to pop up? Anybody? Draw on your charts and you'll see it. I'm going to see if I can do it quick enough. Okay, so we broke out here. I don't think they're coming down that low. Don't normally. That's still below mid-band. That one right there is right above mid-band, and it's barely taking out this wick. So I will take that trade. And did we get 10 ticks? If it bounces there, I'm going to reverse this little puppy. I'm reversing it. It kissed my support level right there. It had broken it, so we're long. Okay? Everybody see why I did that? because Phantom actually worked, but it didn't get me my full 10 ticks. Okay, notice how I avoided a fake out on this by simply drawing on my charts with my lightning. Now, you don't have to draw this lightning if you can see it, but you've got to be able to see it to tell where it is, okay? That was a lightning support. Wasn't this also on the left side of the chart also a support level? See that little wick? And see how they barely take it out? See that? Notice how they had the body still above the line? That's what they do. They try to take you out by 1 tick, okay? But notice how that bounced right there. So could we actually be in a decent trade? And you could even buy it right here as long as it doesn't take out that line. See what I'm talking about? Okay, now let's see if we can get into the trade that I actually called in the room. And I want to see if y'all can actually call it, because we only got, well, we're at 8 o'clock, but I want y'all to call the next trade for me based on what you see in real time. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Yeah, we just got taken out of that one. There we go. All right. Let's draw on our chart. Got looking to the left, to trade to the right. We got a swing right there. We got a swing right here. We got a swing right here. Okay, that one's at mid-band right there, right? So we're going to be looking for a trade right down here if it bounces, or we're going to be looking at here, or even clear down here. Everybody see that? Drew my 3 lines. So let's see if we can get something. By the way, this was right at 8:30 in the morning. What happens usually? What did YM do this morning? It shot up like a bird and then it pulled back. We even kind of didn't curse it, but we were saying that was deep enough for you, YM, if anybody remembers that. So let's fast forward it and y'all tell me where you get the trade. You could box it if it takes out that swing to the upside. Okay, so the way to do this would be draw a region. Okay, put your region to where if it takes out resistance, which is right here to the left, and I usually like to go a few ticks above just in case, that way you don't get faked in. And then I'm going to draw this thing all the way down to there also. All right, and we're going to see where we can get this trade. Does anybody remember this trade being called in the room? And I even said thrust. This was a 50% retracement, wasn't it? But watch how Phantom will actually get that trade. I called this in the room this morning. And how would you take that trade? Anybody? Keep drawing your box, by the way. See the box now? 1, 2, 3 reversal. You don't want to take this out though, or it's not heading up anymore. One, two, three reversal again. There's your 1, 2, 3 reversal right there. And there you go. You just got you a trade. Did y'all like that trade this morning, by the way? Now, a conservative way to take this, see how I took the little breakout? The conservative way to take it is to wait to get a higher low. See this little candle here? Candle high, a little higher right there. That's pretty much where you want to take that, is when you get that higher low, if you want to be conservative about it. Now notice we would have put our stop right here to begin with, so we were only risking 10 ticks. And does anybody remember what happened with this particular trade? We got it this morning and it was a nice little monster trade. Does everybody see a little bit clearer how to tell on your charts how to box these and how not to get faked out now? Because this is not hokey pokey stuff. We called this trade right here this morning in the room live. And if you're afraid of that Phantom trade, then wait for the one that'll come up. Matter of fact, watch it and see if it doesn't happen in real time. It's right above mid-band. See if we get a little pullback first. If it pops up, I'm going to take it. going to put it right there. Whoop, already got it. And I would put my, just in case they come back here, I'd put my stop just underneath that swing. Yep, see, they're coming back to test it. And then I put my stop right in through there. Will it get it? Well, it might. See how swings hold? See how I drew that line? See how lightning swings hold? They've got those tuned into their algorithms. Notice how that came right down on top of my line, wicked it, didn't take us out, even though it did touch it. See there? That would have taken you out on Chart Trader. But it did not take us out. And I called that trade this morning. This is where I called it, right here. And this is where Charles got it, was right across here. Anybody remember that? So if you weren't in it at all, could you box it? And the answer is yes. Right? See the little box? But your stop has to be a little looser. It's 15 ticks right there. That's why the better you can get into a trade, the better you are. And you can clearly see too, if you drew a trend line like so, that you were pretty much in that trade there anyway. Everybody see that? So a real quick lesson again then. Phantom trade short worked. Phantom trade long worked. Those phantom trades are pretty darn good trades. They've gotten to be some of my favorite. For years they weren't, because I was making too big of boxes. But if you actually watch for, as close as you can get to line 2 on a phantom or a deep probe, this is a true phantom here, this is a true phantom here, okay? This is technically just a deep bar probe, but it came really close to line 2. And that's the trade you're looking for. But always make sure that it goes from one extreme to the other, okay? And then it goes like from short to long phantom or deep bar probe. Phantom again. Now it goes to short. You've got a phantom here. Goes to long. You've got a phantom here. And if you do that, you'll do pretty amazingly in your trading, okay? Because these trades that set up like this are just classic Viper type trades that really pay off very nicely. If you happen to have just had a couple of contracts in that thing and put your stop, see where support is, see how it bounced right off of it, right there. We're still heading up, still heading up. Couldn't you put your stop just under there, then just under there, and you're out. You could get back in though, couldn't you? Because that's what we call a tight stop right there. Your looser stop is down at the swing itself. Okay? But keep in mind, this is what you're most concerned about when you're trading. You want to get the best trade you possibly can, but you want to keep this thing green at all times if you can. Okay? And we give you the tools to do it with phantom trades, mid-band trades, phantom trades short, the whole 9 yards. You've got everything that you need to trade with. And you've always got to know where these things can turn around and go the other direction. Okay? And you'll see that with these numbered swings. Anybody remember YM in the room this morning? Watch and see if you can tell me when it actually goes the other direction. See there? Broke support, roll over. Now this was a trade that turned out to be pretty good. We called this one in the room too this morning. Anybody remember that trade? That was a nice little monster. Boxed it in and off it went again. Does anybody remember the trade that right after the room closed? I want to show you one. See if we can get to it. Hopefully I can get it. I'm waiting until the room closed. There's a little short trade setting up too, by the way. Mid-band trade, there it is. What would it take to change this trend back to the upside again? Draw your lines on your chart. Now, where's your trade? Anybody? Right down here. Could you get that trade? Watch and see if it doesn't tag it. I got that trade after the room closed. I know it tagged it. Right there off support. And it turned out to be a sweet little trade. It bounced right off of this little swing right there. Anybody trade that after the room closed? That was a monster trade, by the way. Always look, and you'll see when they stop stair-stepping down, they'll start stair-stepping up. And they will definitely break trend lines. Okay? And when they start breaking these trend lines, you can get ready to box them in, especially when they double bottom and things like that. If you get a hump and you don't get a trade, then redraw your trend line because it's that easy to do. I usually like to actually, even if I don't get a straight trend line like that, I'll drop from the next level even like this and go across the next top, which is my third swing, and then watch for the break. But you're not taking a breakout trade. You got to break this swing first. And what do? They break it, they pull back and kiss, and off they go. Okay. Let's see. There you go. Paul said, for your information, I just used today's lesson to trade YM and SIM and just got 24 ticks. And that is the key to trading. Wait for the thrust and the pullback. Okay. Hope that was a good lesson tonight. Boxing in trades and avoid the fake outs, because it makes a world of difference in your trading. I can promise you that. And I only showed YM tonight, but also called great oil trades today too. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and it will be posted in the next 15 minutes. The more you do it, the clearer it is. That's right. Anybody have any final questions before we wrap? Anybody know how to tell how far that was going, by the way? I tagged that trade today at 25,412. And I did that. And I'll show you how to do that in the morning in the room, because I draw those boxes all the time. And that was one of those boxes. And it hit that 412, and I got out of it and went on with my day. Just have to do it a few hundred times, actually a few thousand times. Watch those charts, because they're amazing how they work. All right, thanks everyone. We'll call them again tomorrow. This isn't hokey stuff either. When it was called on oil, to give an example, and some of these trades on YM today, those are legitimate good trades. All right, thanks again.